Let's get ready to rumble!
The gloves are coming off.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable!
We're about to go full court press.
Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan!
It's time to play ball.
Malone looking for his first hit of the year. He drives one! Deep left field! That goes Upton! Back near the wall! It's out of here! Bartolo has done it! The impossible has happened!
Listen in as we tackle everything in the world of sports right now.
Stay off the weed!
Throw your hat in the ring at 516-572-7440. This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
That is right. Here we go, May 9th, 4:02 p.m., and welcome to WHPC Sports Talk here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I am Michael Merlo, and I'm joined by Anthony Deus, Ross Levine, Matt Leonard, and Elijah Blain. Guys, a very busy weekend, and now a busy Monday for us. How you guys doing?
Who wants to go?
I thought you were going to go. You just thought you were going to talk.
You know what? I'm having a good day. You know, it's...
Well, see, tonight ruins that for you. But
we'll just...
I'm on your side of that one. But
we'll just wait a second, because you know what? First of all, shout out Mr. William Martin Joel. Happy birthday. And it's fitting that the Rangers are up on a day like today when the Islanders are downtrodden. But we'll get to that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that organization got worse, like just 10 times today, with this decision.
And you know what? I'm here for it. I am here for it.
They are going to be bad for 10 years. I'm just going to say it right now.
Well, our team,
yeah,
is playing in a big Game 4 matchup tonight against the, if I could speak, that'd be nice, against the Penguins in Pittsburgh to try and even the series up, bring it back to Game 5 at MSG. All evened up, and the Islanders are making mistakes.
Yeah, it's a good thing that I don't know a lot about hockey. I'm an Islanders fan, but even I know that this is a terrible move.
Mm-hmm. Right, and it's bad. I followed hockey very casually this whole season, and I've to my credit, I've watched a lot of these playoffs. I watched last night the Oilers get smoked by the Kings, but
now he knows a Canadian hockey team. Wow, there you go,
Edmonton.
There you go.
But I can tell you right now that firing Barry Trotz was a idiotic decision. And listen, you don't have to be a genius to figure that one out. So, good job, Islanders. LOL. We are going to start with baseball, though, today, because both teams here in New York are absolutely rolling. The Yankees just won their rubber match against the Texas Rangers, beating them 1-0 and taking 2 out of 3 in this series. Nestor Cortes takes a no-hitter into the 7th inning.
In the
8th inning, goes 7 1/3. I mean, this guy's been a godsend. It makes absolutely no sense. I walked into the studio and I said to Anthony, just watching this guy and the fact that he's a dominant starting pitcher right now, and really since last season, makes absolutely no sense.
I think the Yankees, if you ask any Yankees fan, like, who do you think's going to be after Garrett Cole? I mean, forget that, but they expect Garrett Cole to be the ace. If you ask them, who do you think is going to be your second best pitcher this year? I don't think anybody's answering Nestor Cortes. He's been better than Cole this year.
I wouldn't say Nestor Cortes, but it wouldn't shock me if he was like number 3 or number 4.
This season?
This season he's been their best.
After last year, he was not as good as he is right now, but he was pretty good last year.
No.
Tail end.
But Matt's point is, nobody would have said, "Oh, Nestor Cortes is the second best pitcher coming into this season." Mm-hmm. But he is. He's their best. Statistically, he's been their best pitcher this season.
And also, nobody thought the Yankees pitching would be as dominant as it has been this year. I mean, even the bullpen. I mean, nobody expected. The thing with the Yankees pitching, with both starting bullpen, I'll believe when I see it, when everybody said the pitching's going to be the problem, because I heard that before the season would be a problem. I haven't seen any flashes to show that the pitching's a problem. So until that happens and they go through a 20-game stretch where they're going to have a 9 ERA, I will not believe those people until guys like Nestor Cortes, who've been great, struggle.
Well, I don't think there's anybody right now saying the Yankees.
No, not now.
You're saying before the season, yeah, and you're right. And somebody in the bullpen who looked like he was absolutely unhittable all season long, and he was. Michael King struggled yesterday, gets handed a loss in the second game of the doubleheader, but. Again, you're going to have a couple of blimps here where the bullpen doesn't look good, and they are. You better also hope for the fact that they're not overworked by the end of the season. Yeah. But overall, they've been fantastic so far, and the pitching rotation to me is what's so surprising. Not necessarily the bullpen. I expected this bullpen to be very, very good. It's been great for years now, and I didn't expect anything differently. Chapman comes in today, closes the door on a 1-run lead, so that's also encouraging. He hasn't pitched in a week, so that was good.
Yeah, the only question mark I have with the bullpen, and I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, I just do not like Chad Green at all.
Mm-hmm. But how much of a role is he playing? How much of a role is he playing right now?
He's the shutout, and he's going to be our our third closer, in the role. Because Loizaga is number 2 and Chapman is number 1.
And you have a problem with the guy that's your third closer. Think about that for a second.
I mean, anybody would take Chad Green at this point. The Mets would sign up gladly for a Chad Green at this point.
The Mets would take a Chad Green right now, 100%. And also, you have to realize something. Bullpens are not used as... I don't know what the word would be, just... I guess saying there's no 7th inning, 8th inning closer. A lot of teams have a closer, yes, but it all depends on, matchups and how this guy's feeling.
It's by committee.
Right. Where there's no set almost position in the bullpen. Yeah. Michael King, if he's on pitching very well, and let's say you bring him in the 7th inning and he goes 1, 2, 3, he could be your setup guy for that day. He'll go another inning. So Michael King is an absolute weapon in that bullpen. There's no doubt about it. And I just think if you're complaining about the Yankee bullpen right now, I don't know what you're watching, because we haven't even brought up the name Clay Holmes. How good has he been?
Yeah, and he was a guy that was not terrible in Pittsburgh.
Was traded for nothing.
Yeah, he was traded for absolutely nothing. I forgot the prospect, but a lot of Yankees fans were high on the prospect. He's just not good. And we got a really good ground ball pitcher in return.
Well, of course he's not great. Look where he's playing, Pittsburgh. He's playing in Pittsburgh. They never develop anything there.
Yeah, well, it's not as worse as Cincinnati.
No,
that's true. That's true.
Nothing's as worse as the Cincinnati Reds. But yes, the Yankees take 2 out of 3, and they won the first game of the doubleheader yesterday, and they won that first game of the doubleheader on a walk-off home run by Gleyber Torres. The Yankees were being no-hit in this game, I'm pretty sure, for a few innings.
Yep.
And then Gleyber Torres, they got a hit eventually, and then in the 9th, or was it the 9th or the 10th? The walk-off home run.
Oh, that was the 9th.
Yeah, the 9th inning yesterday, Gleyber Torres hits a walk-off home run into right field, went 360-some-odd feet, and the manager of the Rangers, who seems to really have a big mouth for absolutely no reason, Chris Woodward, says we were playing. This is not quoting him. He said, it's a little league ballpark. Right field is very short, and the wind was blowing out there. He was basically making excuses for the loss, and it was a tough loss. Obviously, you lose on a walk-off against the Yankees. You're a last-place team. That's tough. But to sit there and make excuses, that's number one. And number two, according to a Twitter account I really like called Would It Dong.
Yeah.
Would It Dong. I don't know if I've mentioned it before. It posts the home run, the distance, and if it would be a home run in every other ballpark. So it'll say, it was a lock. It would have been a home run in every other ballpark. It'll say 2 out of 30, 3 out of 30. This would have been a home run in 26 out of the 30 parks.
Wow.
In baseball. I don't know what this guy was talking about or what he was watching.
He has had to see so many home runs in that ballpark to kind of, and then probably use that compared to that home run and being like, in any other ballpark, in my ballpark, in their case, Texas's ballpark.
And your new ballpark that you're consistently losing in. So, I don't know why Yankees fans and just Yankees Twitter is so enamored with this. He's a sore loser. It's a stupid offhand comment.
It's a guy that you can attack.
You won the series, so just let it go.
Yeah,
I mean, he's managing the Texas Rangers for a reason. He's not managing a good team.
He can be public enemy number one. That's what he can be.
Right, but you shouldn't give him the time of day.
Well, again, crazy fanatics, and not just saying Yankee fans, but every fan base does this too, where they'll pick somebody even though they don't deserve the attention that they're going to get. They pick them to attack them.
And it's an opinion. Like, at the end of the day, it's an opinion. Like, we may not like the opinion, we may not enjoy the opinion, but it's an opinion. We've seen parks where maybe those are fly. I mean, maybe not that home run per se, but we've seen home runs in Yankee Stadium be line drives out of the ballpark.
The Rangers had one later that day where, I forgot who hit it. But
No,
it was
I remember,
2 out of 30 parks.
Well, right. You're playing on the same field as them. That's number one. Number
Same
two,
conditions, everything.
please do not sit there and cry about home runs. Listen, I'm not one to sit here and defend the Yankees. That is a very short porch. There are absolutely home runs that do not deserve to be home runs that are hit. Okay, you play their 81 games. Of course, there's going to be. It's a short porch, but that one, there's no defending them.
On the other hand, your team should be taking advantage of it as well. It's a two-way game.
Yeah.
So you're complaining about the short porch. Well, your hitters can take advantage of
It's
it
like
as well.
complaining about not hitting home runs in Citi Field. I mean, it's just, what you're getting into when you go to this park. I mean, let's see. I don't really care about the comments that much, but it's just that, it's like mocking tone.
He's just
with the
running his
comments,
mouth for no reason.
For a guy who doesn't really deserve it in Gleyber Torres.
They spent $500 million on middle shortstops. That's not working. So
You see how bad Marcus Simeon's been?
Yeah, he's not being...
He has a 486 OPS.
That's the guy that I wanted. Way to mush it, right?
The Blue Jays saw something. They did.
Yeah.
I mean, they did. They saw something.
Seager, I wouldn't be too worried about. I feel like Seager will eventually. I don't think he's definitely not as bad of a season.
He's too good of a player to stay down like that.
He'll figure
He's
it
not
out.
having a Trevor Story season.
Not many players are.
That team, I was just going to say, was I could see Texas selling at the deadline.
Texas was never going to be a competitive team.
They thought
they were. No, I don't think
never,
I don't think they ever considered themselves a team that was going to contend this season.
They spend money on Corey Seager.
Because they wanted to sell tickets for the new stadium. That's why.
Not even that, sell tickets. Sure, I'm sure that may have had something to do with it, but they wanted to be competitive. Say, okay, we're going to spend money. We're going to show people we're going to spend money, and we're going to build toward the future. You don't have to just sign Corey Seager and say, oh, we're going to win now. Marcus Simeon feels like a win now move, but I still believe that was a two contracts that said, you know what, they're long-term contracts. We don't have to win in the first year. We're probably not going to win in the second year. We might as well continue to build this thing. I wouldn't say that they were trying to win the whole thing or even make the playoffs this year. They would have loved to, but I never considered them a team that was even going to win 80 games.
Wow, really? You didn't think they were going to get above 500?
No, they have nothing. And John Gray was their big pitching acquisition, and he's been terrible.
He was great today until he got hurt.
But that's against the Yankees, who cannot hit.
Well, that's not fair.
That's not fair to say.
Not fair to say.
They couldn't hit today.
Today, in general, they have a great lineup.
The Rangers?
No, the Yankees.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just going to say in terms of the Rangers, when I watched them,
they literally couldn't hit today. They were being no hit for 7 1/3.
But they can't hit against anybody. Let's be honest. I mean, they're pretty. It's not just Nestor Cortes. They can't hit against anybody.
The Yankees played today. They also played 2 yesterday. And starting yesterday, they started a stretch in which they were going to play 23 games in 22 days. They had Thursday, Friday, and Saturday off. That's probably the first time they'll have that in the middle of a season like this. So I hope they got their rest because they have a ton of games coming up in a very short amount of days. Anything else here on the Yankees? I just want to run through the AL East quickly. You guys brought up the Red Sox. That is an absolute disaster. And also, not to mention Trevor Story and the guys that, are just underperforming. Xander Bogaerts, according to people close to him, he wants out of there.
Yeah.
That's not surprising.
It's not, it's really not, especially how they lowballed him before the season started with a contract offer.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. I don't think it's not surprising. But I mean, I don't know where you would end up. I mean, I really don't know. I mean,
we're not there yet, obviously, but
think they trade him
if they're out of it and
at the deadline, and they trade him.
They need pitching.
They need a lot.
They need everything right now.
I'm guessing so, that they would try and trade him. And, you'd view it as a rental if somebody was in need of a shortstop. He's not a very good shortstop when it comes to defense. I know he's improved a little bit, but he's not great. So the Red Sox, they're a disaster. Chris Sale had a setback, a medical condition after
That's
the
unfortunate.
rib injury. He's not going to be back anytime soon. The Orioles are the Orioles, but they're ahead of the Red Sox. The Blue Jays have dealt with a ton of injuries. They got Teoscar Hernandez back.
I feel like I know that, as you said, they had injuries. They're disappointing, in my opinion, the
Who?
Blue Jays. They're disappointing.
I think they're the opposite.
But they're 4 games above. They can't hit.
But think about what they've gone through as a team with the injuries and everything.
I know. I mean, I know they don't have Teoscar Hernandez. They lost Simeon. I get it. But they just, I don't know. They can't hit.
I think that right now we have not seen what this team can do.
Not even close.
Not even close to the potential we've seen from this team in their 4 games over 500. They beat the Yankees 3 times out of 7. Yeah, they lost a 7-game series right there with the best team in the American League to start this year. So I think this Blue Jays team is going to turn it on. That's just my opinion.
The thing about the Blue Jays, I don't like their pitching that much. Their pitching it's
what don't
okay.
you like?
So they have Barrios.
He's gotten off to a tough start. He's been better since the beginning.
He'll get better.
I trust him. He's a very good starting pitcher. I think
Gosman is good.
Gosman's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's no
walks this year so far for him. He's been great.
I think he finally walked one.
Oh, really?
Cleveland.
Yeah, but when you're in the division with the Rays and the Yankees, it has to be a little bit
what's
better.
What's the point? Like, was it Kikuchi? That's the big question mark for you?
Yeah.
Because he's the 5 guy.
That's not bad.
That's a good 5 guy.
And Alex Manoah's been pretty good.
Alex Manoah's been unbelievable.
Yeah, he's been really good too.
And Ryu's the 4, the 5. He's been hurt. They have Ross Stripling stepping up. He's their 6th man. So what don't we like about the rotation?
Yeah, I like the rotation. To me, they got hit. They
got hit.
Yeah, they can't hit right now.
I don't think there's any problem for me in that rotation. And when they get healthy, I think they're going to be fine. The Rays. Ross counted the Rays out last week.
Oh, I still am. I'm still counting them out.
They win a couple of games in a row. They're 18-10. They're not playing terrible right now.
Who are they playing?
Did they sweep Seattle? Or did they finally lose?
No, they lost to Seattle.
They lost on a walk-off last night. Ty France did a walk-off.
All right.
So they went in there and they took the series for sure. I don't know how many games they won over there, but they took the series from Seattle.
2 of 3, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they won.
I believe it's 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. So I mean, look, they played Oakland. Oakland's horrendous. I don't know. I think they lost their identity. I really do. Their pitching's not as good. Maybe they'll trade for another bat or something to replace Meadows. I just don't see their lineup being as strong as it was a year ago. I don't see it.
We're gonna have to see. They have been playing better, that's for sure. Let's see how that continues, and obviously we have the Yankees. All right, 516-572-7440. You guys want to join the show, talk about the Yankees. We're going to go talk about the Mets here for a second and then on to the NHL. But first, the Mets. They're the first team to 20 wins. They have a 6-game lead in the division right now. I think any optimistic Met fan, I saw this from Mike Puma, the most optimistic Met fan you could possibly have, would still be happy with the start that they've had. I think everything's hit basically, the right way.
Yeah, you can't be upset with 20-10.
They're on pace for 108 wins.
Yeah, and this is without Jacob deGrom. I mean, without Jacob deGrom
or a good bullpen. Or you know what?
It's not a good bullpen. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna fight you here.
Come
I'm gonna fight you. Do I think that this is a great bullpen? No. Do I think it's even a good bullpen? No. It's not as bad as you make it out to be. It is a middle-of-the-road bullpen. It gets the job done. It's not good. It's not good enough to win a division. It may be good enough to win the division, but it's not good enough.
Yeah.
It's not good enough to win playoff games. It's not good enough for the level that this team wants to play at. They have to improve. I'd get an 8th or 9th inning guy, and I'd get another guy for the 6th or the 7th. That's what I would do. But it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I may be eating my words here because tomorrow they may blow a lead against the Nationals. I'll knock on wood. But every bullpen blows leads. They do. No bullpen's perfect. The Yankees bullpen blew a lead yesterday. But the Met bullpen is not as bad as people make it out to be. And I'm not saying they shouldn't add. They will add. I think they should add. I would do it if I was the general manager. But right now, today, just because it's the weakest part of a very good team so far, and it's, the Mets blow a lead, and it's funny, LOL Mets, that's why. It's overblown. It's overblown. I would add,
Okay.
but
And when
not as bad.
And when now, because Mr. Dom Smith is struggling again, like he wasn't already, you wouldn't trade him.
I'm not sitting there and trading Dom Smith
What
for
is
a
he hitting?
reliever.
What is he hitting right now?
I don't know. I don't.
140?
I don't.
No,
care.
definitely over 200. I that 4-hit game, definitely over
He's
200.
been awful, Dom.
I don't care what he's hitting right now. I really don't. He's not playing that much. It's tough for him to get in this lineup, play, every other day, every 2 days, and find some consistency at the plate. I'm not. I can't trade him right now. Why would I trade him right
He's
now?
hitting 204.
Who would I trade him for?
A reliever.
No, and I read an article. The other day in the New York Post. It would seem desperate right now to make a trade in the bullpen, and they aren't desperate right now. They just aren't.
Do you want to win or not?
I do want to win, Ross. I'm not disagreeing with you that they need to add a pitcher or two, and I would add two in the bullpen. I agree with you, but I'm not rushing in on May 9th to do it now.
What you need to do is wait till teams fall out of it and see what arms are available. That's how you
exactly.
do it.
Teams aren't out of it. The Nationals, as bad as we think they are, they have a couple of relievers we've named on this show before. They would consider themselves in it. They're 9 games out of the division. Nobody's completely out of it yet.
Okay.
Nobody's going to make a trade. Nobody, not one team, except you're the Reds and you're idiots, or is going to say, you know what, we're going to make this trade for a high-level reliever to get a prospect and signal to our fan base and the rest of the league that we are just punting the season away because we think we're a bad team.
And they're never going to do that.
No team's going to do that right now in May.
Okay, but what do you like about Dom Smith? That's just my question.
Why are we going back to Dom
Okay,
Smith?
because he's the most tradable asset on this team.
I don't think he's the most tradable asset on
He's
this
batting
team.
200.
You're talking about him like he's batting 200. Why would somebody else want the guy batting 200?
Okay, because he keeps shaking his head to the umpire on every strike. I'm just
why
done with
would
the
somebody
guy.
else want him? Why would I trade my piece of garbage to somebody else? Why do they want my
admit he's
piece of
bad.
garbage?
You just said he's bad. You
He's
admitted
playing
it.
bad, yes.
Mike's point
Yeah.
is not that he's good. Mike's point is that he's not tradable.
Yeah, I don't know who would want him right now.
And by the way, I wouldn't trade him because I think if he does figure it out at the plate somehow, I don't want it to be with somebody else. I want it to be with me.
We can say that we can say that about Robinson Cano. It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
He's gone.
Cano's
He's
39
gone.
years old.
He's like breaking down.
Don't
at
they
this
hear about
point.
Cano going to the Marlins? I mean, I'm just
Robinson
saying.
Cano is 39 years old. He's off another PED suspension.
Look.
That's completely different.
Okay.
Give me another name, and we could argue that.
Look.
I didn't want to trade Jeff McNeil over the offseason. Look at what happened. Jeff McNeil's batting over 300. He's got an 850 OPS. He's been fantastic.
Look at and don't get me wrong. In terms of worrying about other players going somewhere else, I don't. Howie Rose said it perfectly yesterday on the radio. He said it perfectly. He said, you know what, you need to have conviction in your moves. That's what it is. You have to have conviction and trust your scouts to realize that this guy is not very good. And look, maybe Dom Smith will shut me up like Jeff McNeil did, and he'll be a really good hitter. Maybe he will. I've seen enough from Dom Smith to know that he's not going to get there. All he had was a very good 2020 in 60 games when the balls were juiced and nobody cared about the games. There was nobody there, and when there's been fans there, he's been terrible.
Ross, listen, and I was a guy that wanted to trade Dom in the offseason. And if an offer came around, in 2 months that it was absolutely you cannot turn this offer down, I would. But as of today, why am I looking to trade Dom Smith? In 2 months? Okay, you may get desperate. He may have not turned it on yet. That's a different story.
But
right now, I'm not looking to trade the guy. I can't. I can't even discuss trades right now.
All right.
It's too early.
They're
early.
playing so well.
No, they are. They're hitting the ball well. They're getting great starting pitching. Chris Bassett was outstanding yesterday.
Yeah.
And by the way, about Bassett, give that man a contract.
I was about to say, they have to agree on a salary with arbitration for this season. I said it last week. I would not do that. I'd extend him today. I'd extend him right now. He's got 500 some odd innings on his arm. He was a reliever in college. He was a reliever coming up. He dealt with injuries early on in his career. He doesn't have many miles on that arm. I would extend him right now. He's a fantastic pitcher.
He fits in great in New York in the clubhouse, too.
He's been great.
Everything about him, I love him.
516-572-7440. Met fans, would you extend Chris Bassett? Yankee fans, what do you think of the win? Yankees have a series coming up against the Blue Jays 2-game set, and then off to Chicago to play the White Sox. More on the Mets here. Scherzer was not his best. 3 runs yesterday, 7 Ks, 10 hits allowed. I could not tell you how frustrated I was watching this game. Outside of a home run from Bryce Harper, everything was soft contact, through holes, dropping down in the outfield. I wanted to throw something at the TV.
Is this becoming a more increasing problem for you? Or rather a worry for you for Max Scherzer? Where the outings...
Please.
I'm not worried.
I'm not worried about him at all.
Okay.
No, I'm not. Sure.
Where does that come from? Please,
you know where that
know where that
okay,
comes
let me tell you where it comes from, because all the posts of Bryce Harper hitting that home run and the desperate look on Max Scherzer's face with that clip.
That's Scherzer, though. That's always Scherzer, though.
I'm just asking. I just feel like it's a question to ask, because that's twice with the Phillies with the home run early innings from him.
I don't know. I think that's because you face him the third time, and look, you face a team enough times, they're gonna, as good as Scherzer is, it's easier to face a pitcher. He's fine. He gave up 10 hits. A lot of them were bloop hits. The one home run he gave up.
And I'm okay with solo home runs.
And not only that, the other ones, like the RBI single bloop hit. Look, the Mets scored 2 runs in that game. You could have done a little bit more to help.
Yeah, the loss was not on him. He pitched well. I mean, the 10 hits, but 3 runs in 7 innings, that's not bad.
If that's his worst, if that's the worst, please sign me up. Sign me up for that. Listen, you also have to remember something. Max Scherzer pitched in this division for now 7 years.
Yeah.
So how many times have those guys seen Max Scherzer? Almost all of them have seen him a ton.
Yeah.
So, I can't be too concerned.
No,
I'm definitely not even close to concerned about Max Scherzer. Again, you said it 100%. He's faced him the team 3 times now, and can't put that loss on him. The Mets had guys on base in the 5th inning, in the 6th inning, didn't get anybody in.
The 7th inning, they had that 1st and 2nd, nobody out.
On the walks, yes.
Yeah, so that's on the offense for me. And look, here's the thing about Scherzer. You're not as good as he is. You're not going to have great starts all the time. You're going to have a start here and there where it doesn't look like he's at his best. And guess what? He gave up 10 hits, and he still kept you in the ball game. The offense didn't do their part. Not
even keep you in the ball game. He said, go win the game. He said, go win the game. That's what he did. So, yeah, 100%. Alonso exploded in game 2, though. Holy crap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He hasn't hit a ton of home runs this season. He hit 2 yesterday. He's at 8. I think he's right there now with the lead in the NL, or he's tied for second or so. I wouldn't say I was worried about him, but you did see this different approach from him where he was going the opposite way, singles, wasn't hitting a ton of home runs. But he really started getting in this groove where his average kept ticking up and ticking up and ticking up, and now the 2 bombs yesterday, hopefully he can continue this, because I like the fact that they get hits and they're able to produce runs without the home run, but there are going to be times where you're hitting a tough luck or the defense is making fantastic plays. The amount of line drives they hit in the center field yesterday, and Roman Quid made a ton of great plays out there in center field. There are going to be times where you say, okay, can we see a homer? Can you put it over them, please?
Yeah.
You got to be able to do that a little bit. I don't want them to be so home run reliant like other teams we see, but...
Yeah, look, I like the fact that he's trying to be a little more of an average hitter.
Yeah.
That's fine. Look, if he's a 280 hitter, let's say, 290 hitter, and he hits 35 home runs, you sign up for that any day of the week.
100%.
So I don't care if it's a little lack of power. If he's driving in runs, I don't care. You win the game.
But with him, though, I'd also sign up for 240 and 45 home runs. With him.
Yeah, with him.
Because, 100 some RBIs, maybe some more walks, 800, 850 OPS, that I would rather the 45 home runs, because I expect to get the batting average from guys like Starling Marte, and, I expect Lindor's average to be up a little bit. And
even Nimmo.
100%. And by the way, they were talking about it on the broadcast yesterday. He gets overlooked.
Yeah, way overlooked.
He's a fantastic player.
He's really, really good.
Yeah.
People don't realize that.
Gets on base. He's developed power. He gets big hits, and he's great on the base paths. Not
Great defender, too. He doesn't get really overlooked in center field.
Yes, really started last season where he improved his defense. And we're like, okay, this guy can start in center field. And they signed Marte, and you're like, oh, well, Nimmo played well. They should probably split time. No, he is the starting center fielder on that team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only reason why they signed Marte is because if Nimmo leaves as a free agent, you can put him at center field. And hey, if you can get Juan Soto, you go ahead.
You do that.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
But Marte won't be here playing. I mean, at least playing in center field by the time Soto comes.
No,
if he was to come.
Yeah, I'm just. I think it's very possible that could happen. I think it happened.
It's possible. We don't know what the Nationals are going to cook up over there. If he wants to re-sign or whatever.
He's going to L.A.
He's not going back to Washington. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
He's not going to the Mets either.
You don't know that.
I think
Money
he's going
talks.
to L.A.
Yeah,
What happens
I
if
agree.
Judge
Money does
leaves?
talk.
What happens if Judge leaves? Think you think the Yankees have a shot with the lefty in Yankee Stadium?
California kid, Judge.
I mean, I don't even know if he's leaving at this point. It's up in
If
the
he
air
does.
right now. If he does, then yeah, I think we could go after anyone, really.
Oh, but the Mets can't.
I mean, no, I just don't think that he's going to.
We need a Yankee boy drop. Can we just hear that?
What?
The richest owner in baseball. No, he's not going to the Mets.
I don't think he's going to the Yankees either.
But if the Yankees got rid of Judge, oh yeah, we could go get him. We can get anybody. So
No, I said we're in the mix for anybody. I think that we can get. I don't think we
were
could get.
really in the
certain
mix
people.
for Freddie Freeman there.
You're in the mix for Freddie
The
Freeman,
Yankees
Carlos
do have that,
Correa,
like,
Corey
got him.
Seager.
The Yankees have that pedigree of like we're the New York Yankees. That attracts players. I agree
All right,
with
well,
him
don't get too cocky now, Matt.
No,
What? What am I- I'm
be
bigging
like,
you guys up.
Yankees.
What do you mean? How is that cocky? I'm bigging up you guys.
All right.
no, I
I'm saying the
don't.
Mets don't
I
have
don't-
that level of respect. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they should be having it now.
They should, but they don't. The stigma
It
of the
doesn't
league is
really-
LOL Mets,
respect
like Mike
doesn't-
said earlier.
The respect doesn't really matter when you could throw money at them.
But
You
I
also
just
want
said that-
you want the ability to have that respect of, oh, that's a good. Not even the respect of the Yankee. It's overblown. Oh, the pinstripes. Oh, playing Yankee Stadium. Who gives a bleep? But what you want is a good foundation, a good culture, a very good ownership, and a great front office and stability, and smart people running the organization. And if you mix that with big time money, that's when you get the respect
So
of free agents
basically,
wanting
the
to go
Dodgers,
there.
which I just said.
Exactly, the Dodgers. That's what you get.
Yeah,
The Dodgers are 110% the model of every franchise. And when Steve Cohen bought the team, he said, I want to be the Dodgers on the East Coast.
Yeah, no, and also the reason why I just brought up Soto and I look at the players on the team, it's not impossible to think that it could happen. I'm just saying it's not
Russ,
impossible.
it's totally possible, considering he's going to leave there and he'll be the highest paid player in the history of sports.
Yeah. It's not impossible. I mean, Kanye has 2 years. You don't know if he's going to be there after the 2 years. Marte's going to be 2 years within the 4 years. Nimmo's a free. It's not impossible to think that it could happen. It may not happen, but it's not impossible.
It's 100% possible.
Yeah.
It would be crazy to even think that it hasn't crossed Steve Cohen's mind. By the way, what did you do?
I moved my paper and it flung that other piece of paper.
And
off.
you flung a pen and 2 pieces of paper on the floor.
Listen, you know what? It happens. It
You're
happens.
littering in the studio.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you guys see? Probably didn't see this. So the Wall Street Journal wrote an article. I really don't have time for this, but I was so interested in that. So the Wall Street Journal wrote an article today about Steve Cohen and the Mets.
I did. I know you're going to go with this.
And basically, it might be behind a paywall now. It wasn't when I read it because I definitely don't pay for the Wall Street Journal. But basically, it was saying that Steve Cohen's really smart people, men and women, that work for .72 as hedge fund, have now also either gotten jobs with the Mets or they do both. So they work for the hedge fund, .72, and they also work for the Mets as analytical data people.
Interesting.
The person that runs HR, she's a woman, I'm blanking on her name. She runs HR for .72. She's also the HR person for the Mets.
That's incredible. He
So,
brought his whole team over here. That's
Bringing
great. I love
smart,
that.
qualified people over to the organization, as well as hiring baseball people. But Great move.
You need both in this day of age of baseball now.
Yeah, you definitely
It's like Moneyball.
Just like smart. You just need smart people. That's all. And thankfully, Steve Cohen is the.
Well, you don't want to end up
Dragons.
like Moneyball does.
No,
Just
you
look
don't.
at-
Under the 50 feet of crap.
Look how those Oakland A's are right now.
Well, listen, the Mets are winning games, and
How do you feel about the power rankings that came out really quickly? Top
Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Brewers. That's my top four.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any question of the top 4 teams in baseball. It's those 4.
I'm sorry. The Dodgers are the best team in baseball until like the playoffs, in my opinion. I don't think we could win a lot of games. I still think
The
Dodgers
Yankees
are
over
better
the
than
Mets
us.
bothered me.
You know what? I don't.
And it's not even a bias thing. It's not even I hate the Yankees. I love the Mets. It's not even that.
I think the Mets are better.
The
team
Mets
than
are a better team. Stay slightly edge them out for me right now.
It's so close. Like I don't.
It's
really
very close.
care.
I'll give them that.
I'll give it to the Yankees. I think it's because of how they beat up on the Blue Jays and how highly I still think of the Blue Jays. But I would give the slight edge to the Yankees. Doesn't matter though. I'll tell you one thing right now. You want a bold prediction before we get to hockey?
Okay.
This is
Should I write this down?
I don't even think it should be bold. Yeah, let me give you a date, okay? Because somebody's getting fired. Let me give you a date.
May 9th.
Okay? No. I
Not
gotta
today's
find
date.
it.
Okay, different date.
Got to find a date here. All right. So this team is about to play a stretch of games that if I told you, you'd say, holy crap. Okay, perfect. June 10th, Friday. Actually, no. He'll be fired June 9th. Okay?
A month from today.
He will not get on the plane June 9th to go home to Philadelphia.
Oh!
Joe Girardi will be fired. Can I read you this next stretch of games for them?
Sure. Just let me mark this down. So what should I? Because I want to revisit this.
Oh, yeah. So June 9th, they will play a 2:10 game in Milwaukee. He won't get on the plane and come back home for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
He'll be fired. Ready?
They'll leave him in Milwaukee?
They'll leave him in Milwaukee. Okay, so today, May 9th.
Okay.
3 games in Seattle, 4 games set at the Dodgers this weekend. Come home, 3 games versus the Padres. Then the next weekend at home, like next weekend. A week from Friday.
Yeah.
Home against the Dodgers.
Oh.
At Atlanta for 4, at the Mets for 3, home for the Giants. Now we're into June. Home for the Angels, and then finish it 7th to the 9th at Milwaukee.
Okay, so this is going to be, they're not going to make the playoffs, but you wouldn't assume that, at least for continuity-wise, they won't can them in the offseason.
The Phillies are 12-16.
I know, but I'm just
They
saying
are-
for continuity reasons, you don't think they're going to can him at the end of the year.
They're done.
Because he's
gone.
He's a dead man walking.
He's done.
But just for continuity reasons.
He's fired June 9th.
Okay.
I think they're going to be so far out of it by June 9th.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're 12-16. So over the next, I got to count how many games this is.
So it's got to be what, like 25? Maybe 23?
Over 20 games.
You guys talk and let me count.
I feel like just the whole Joe Girardi thing. I wanted him to be the Mets manager so bad. Now I'm so glad it didn't happen. I'm so happy we have
Well, I mean,
Buck now.
also you got to realize that
29 games.
29 games.
Wow.
That Phillies bullpen is horrific.
Oh, it's so bad.
And it's almost
And
overlooked.
I'm thankful for that Phillies
It's almost-
bullpen now.
I know. Well, who wouldn't be? But that Phillies bullpen is overlooked by how bad the defense of that Phillies team is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
29 games. Let's say they go 10-19. That's generous, by the way.
That's really bad.
With those teams, that's generous. So what are they?
So there are 2 sweeps in there. Dodgers are going to sweep them twice. At minimum, 2 sweeps.
Oof. The Brewers may sweep him at the end, and that's what may put the final ribbon
That
on
could
it.
put the coffin. That
Yep,
could put
nail in the coffin.
12-16. So what is that? Let me do quick math. 12, 16. So 10. If I've given them 10-19 in that stretch,
They're going to be 22
and
40-something,
35.
right? That's bad.
I think they're done.
That's
I think they're
bad.
done at 22.
And then he can get a nice, cushy job at Fox Sports.
MLB Network.
LP Network, too.
Yeah.
All
MLB
right,
Network.
we got a lot of things to do still. 516-572-7440 is the number to join if you want to talk Mets, Yankees, Phillies, or whatever you want. We're going to talk about hockey right now. You are listening to WHPC Sports Talk here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Anthony, I'm not going to play my lock thing. I think the Rangers are winning big tonight.
There it goes.
Big.
There goes the series.
Big.
Actually,
tonight.
no. You know why it doesn't go no to the series? Because that Mike Richter jersey that I got from a one Matt Leonard is cursed. It is cursed.
Did you wear it on Saturday, too?
I did not. I wore the other Liberty jersey. That's cursed. Okay?
Liberty jerseys first.
Well,
Or is this the Victor?
kind of both.
Come on.
But it is the blue Artemi Panarin jersey night. That's what's going to win it for us.
Shall I wear my Hank jersey tonight?
No, you should just stay out of it because we need to win.
Oh, wow.
Because we need to win because it is a must-win game. You know what? You know what bothers me, Mike?
Game 3 was disgusting.
Why would you pull Igor there? I'm just curious, Anthony.
It worked
It
because
worked for a little bit.
he didn't have a good game. The Pens fans with their stupid air horn with the
Oh, that annoyed me. That annoyed me.
You know what? You're a bunch of fair-weathered fans because your team almost folded. You're lucky Mario Lemieux saved your franchise, and the NHL catered to you by giving you 2 top 10 picks.
And they got the golden boy, too.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Malkin and Crosby, right?
Yeah.
You've been catered for years. You're fair-weathered fans. I'm sure they're fair-weathered friends to their Sidney Crosby, too, because when he was young and wasn't there, they were probably booing him as well. Okay?
Yeah.
One last thing about the city of Pittsburgh. Beautiful city. Nice stadiums. But, I mean, really, once things go south, you're going to have attendance like the Pirates do.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was my anti-Pittsburgh rant. Thank you. Beautiful city.
What do you think tonight, Ross? What happens tonight?
People are not going to like me for saying this. I think this season, the series is over.
Well, it can't end tonight.
No, I know. Wednesday it will end.
Okay.
Or actually, no.
You think Penguins in 5?
No, 6. Pittsburgh wins in 6. I think it's over. I really think Game 1 was it, and I really do think that losing Goudreau, losing Lindgren killed us.
Well,
And
Lindgren might be back tonight. That's the good news.
but is he going to be playing hurt?
I'd take that over Nemeth or Braun.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Nemeth is
Goudreau hurts.
Nemeth
Goudreau
was a
hurts.
signing where it's like, oh, it's good depth, but he's not good.
No, and I think losing that. I just think losing that
Game 1.
losing Game 1, the experience, not having Goudreau there. I think that's big time gonna hurt.
I'll tell you what though,
Experience matters.
if Tyler Mott comes back and they can kick Dryden Hunt out of the lineup, we're golden because
I hope so.
He is the worst forward on this team by
yeah,
far. By far, because you have Reeves, you have Looney, Skip Rooney, Kevin Rooney. They're just there to be goons. But at least Mott can be on the penalty kill.
The main reason is the officiating is horrendous. You saw
It's
in
so
Game 4.
biased. I hate to use that excuse. I really do because
Hit the screw the Rangers button.
Game 3.
yes, Boomer. No, but it is so clearly towards the Pens, and I hate saying that because I sound like a petulant child who's not getting his way.
You sound like a child complaining.
Now wait a minute, because they're not getting the calls they are.
The first goal was embarrassing. Like that.
But that was a goal. But that was a goal, and we got the same thing later on in the game with that came on. It's fine.
You lose 7-4. 1 goal doesn't matter.
No, because you're looking at the score and you're not two empty netters.
Two empty netters.
You're not looking at the scope of things.
Two empty
Oh
netters.
God! You poked the bear there, Matt. I knew that, but I watched the game.
I turned the game off after a while. I was like, this is done.
But you know what? Even if we lose, it's not as embarrassing as what the Islanders did today.
Yes.
Because the
There you
Islanders,
go. That's a good transition.
this year it was hilarious just watching the Islanders on the outside because you got your new stadium. It's kind of overrated. There's nice parts. It's a pain in the ass to get to with the trains.
Oh, yeah.
Taking the buses
The
around.
shuttle to
It's-
get into the stadium.
It's stupid, but hey, you got your new arena. Sure, you started off 13 road games, but your coach was stubborn, and he wasn't playing the goal scorers. They were playing the veterans, and I understand that. He's a hard-headed coach, and that's what he's done.
Yeah.
But to keep Lou Lamoriello, who set this team back by far by signing all these veteran players, all these throwbacks from those New Jersey Devils teams in 2010, to keep him on and not keep Barry Trotz, the real reason why your team is good, that is embarrassing. And welcome back to the early 2000s, the New York Islanders.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you had to rank coaches in the NHL, where does Barry Trotz rank?
I think he's top 3 easily.
Really?
I don't think it's close.
So
he's very good.
Give me an example, because obviously the Islanders had a down season. They did pick it up toward the end, though. They won some games toward the end. They were never close to the postseason, but they made it a talking point. But they weren't dead in the water. They didn't just fall out of it.
Anthony.
They fired him because...
Hold on. I need an example. Give it to me in football
That's
terms.
what I was going to say, football terms.
Like, give me a team that struggled. They were supposed to be good. They were good this season before. Really good head coach, and they let them go.
I have an interesting one.
Go ahead.
How about, let's say the Ravens fire Harbaugh?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Is that what it's like?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd say Trotz is better than Harbaugh.
Wow.
So they fired. Because, again, I'm not a diehard hockey fan.
Neither am I.
I know enough to say, oh, he's a good coach, but not to that
Because
level.
he turned. Think about it. Well, you may not know, but when the Nashville Predators came into the league, they were an expansion team. He took them to relevance. The Capitals, he matured that dynasty.
Yeah.
And he was a really. I really hated seeing that stupid bald head in those Ranger playoff games because I knew how good of a head coach he was.
Yes, I knew him in Washington. I knew how great he
And
was
then
in
he
Washington.
comes to the Islanders, and I'm like, oh no, they're back on.
'Cause
And
he won-
they were back on the right track.
He won the cup and left, right?
Mm-hmm.
He just resigned.
No.
And then signed with the
Which was a perfect fit because their defense shut down anything. And I am so thankful for the Tampa Bay Lightning for stopping them getting to the Stanley Cup. But
We'd have won last year if we went there.
yes, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But you didn't.
But you didn't.
But Lightning are,
But you
Lightning are
didn't.
too good.
And now your franchise is set back because you know
How many
what?
years?
You're
How many
listening
years?
to it.
I think they're going to be bad for like
8
10
years.
years.
8 to 10. Wow.
It depends on who they hire because you know what's a perfect candidate for them and geriatric Lou Lamoriello? David Quinn, the former New York Rangers head coach, who is stubborn as a bull.
To me, I don't think it
Perfect
matters.
fit.
I don't think it matters who they hire. It's going to be bad for 10 years. I mean, unless they actually make a team where it's a win now team, which to me, I think they need to blow up their team, especially after this decision. They had to blow it up.
You know what's
Like,
weird? You know what's weird, Ross? I wouldn't have blown it up if they kept Trotz. I would have just fired. Well, you can't fire Lou because
He's
my
gonna be
hockey
gone.
resume. You know, he's been there for years.
He'll be fired this year, guaranteed.
Like he should be. He should have been let go a year ago.
is it bad enough where I should like get a new team?
No, because you're not with the Rangers during the dog days. You're not here now.
No, I'm not. I'm never cheered for the Rangers, but yeah. I mean,
Go to the
you know-
Buffalo Sabres. I don't know.
This is the only like point I really have. Like back in the early 2000s, I may be way out of bounds here, but we didn't really have anyone.
You
during that.
had Mike Milbury, which all-time clip.
that
Mike Milbury on Mike and the Mad Dog. Mad Dog knows barely anything about what happened, and he's flaming Mike Milbury, and it's hilarious because Mike Milbury has no answers. Fantastic clip.
But we're not putting out Rick DiPietro here.
Well, yeah,
we
but
have like competent players.
Yeah,
No. Here's the problem because you're running out Zdeno Chara, 43-year-old
Yeah,
Zdeno Chara,
he's old.
who's only there to fight. And
yeah, but they have a lot of older bad contracts on that team. They have. I'm telling you, they have to blow that team.
And
up.
how much did Trotz cover up? How much did Trotz make that team better?
that was the defensive system, I'd have to say, right?
But, yeah, it was all defense, but I think a lot of it had to do with Barzell was not in love with Trotz. I think that was a big thing too, and I think and the message got really dry there. Again, I put that on the
And
players more than Trotz.
I'd say Barzell is very overrated for what he
I
is.
Would
do
you
too.
say, in this case, the coach could and should outweigh the message from the players where you say, you know what, these players, they weren't good enough this season. Let's keep this coach and build around what he wants to do. Is he good enough to say, let's do that?
I think it was going to come down to either the star player, who I don't think Barzell's a star player right now, but I think it was going to be a decision between either going to keep Trotz or are you going to keep Barzell, and I think they decided we're going to keep the player, and I think that's a big mistake because I think Barzell is very overrated right now, and Trotz, look, remember in Washington when he won the cup, they didn't want him back, so maybe there's something going on there as well. Like,
Did they not want him back, or did he leave?
I don't think they want him back.
There was a message problem there.
Yeah.
Ross, I wonder if it. You know how they were talking about Robin Salo, all the youth coming up and playing.
Yeah.
I wonder if when they were being benched, if that was more of a Lou call or a Barry call. Because I'm starting to think it's more of a Lou call because you look at the signings made by Lou. 36-year-old Zach Parise, bringing Travis Zajac. I mean, he didn't play, but last year, Travis Zajac, Kyle Palmieri, all older vets. I mean, you're still paying your depth tremendous. I mean, what they're doing is basically paying. What's comparable to that? If you not Cano like, but
kind of like the Knicks.
It's kind of like the Knicks paying Taj Gibson all that money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with 4 different players.
Wow. It's like the Giants, a little bit.
Did Boston tie the series up against Carolina?
They did.
They did.
That's
Me too.
huge for the Rangers, right? Because you don't want a team. If the Rangers were to win the series, you don't want a team sitting there all rested while you have to,
I don't want
go
to face
6
either
or
of
7
those
games.
Yeah, I don't want to play
with
either
the
team.
Penguins.
Look, in terms of the Rangers, I'm going in with this with low expectations against the Pittsburgh Penguins because I realized that this team was not. I did not see them winning 52 games this year. I didn't see it coming. And I think they surprised the front office.
You're playing with house money right now.
Yeah, and you gotta also remember too. This is the first crack we're getting. I mean, this is we're the youngest team in the league that's in the playoffs. Like, you have to give it some time. Like, it may not go far this year, but I can tell you this: in a couple of years, we'll go far.
The future's very, very bright. You hope that, though. You hope the future is bright.
And Gallant's a very good coach. I trust him a lot.
It's weird because Gallant changed this team around. I'm still not giving him best coach of the year, though.
Well, he always gets fired after a couple.
No. But I'm saying just with what Calgary did, and I hope that's not the case. I don't think it's the case.
No,
it can't be the case.
Give me one team right now wins the cup.
Right now,
Carolina.
I still think Carolina wins it.
Okay,
Florida's going to get
Not Tampa
lose that
Bay?
series.
they're going to lose to Washington. They lost 6-1 the other day against Washington.
Yes. And Toronto's going to lose because they are pathetic.
Yeah,
and that's another
Toronto's-
last thing on hockey because I know we got to get basketball and the NFL really quickly. But Lou Lamoriello, the current president, GM, whatever you want to label him as, was the president of the Maple Leafs way back when they started rebuilding this process. The Shanahan plan, which set them up, was underneath him. And basically, for a lot of the flaws that the Maple Leafs have right now, you could kind of tie it back to Mr. Lou Lamoriello.
I've heard Islander fans say they'd rather see the Rangers win than Tavares win.
Hey, I'll take
How
that.
petty is that? How petty is that?
That's very petty.
All right, no more time for calls, unfortunately. Oh, wow, look at that.
Just under the.
Just under. No, they're. If you want to call back very quickly. I didn't think we were going to get any more calls. I didn't see the phone ringing. So if you want to call back, call back. But we do want to get into the NFL very quick. There we go. We got a call. Caller, you are on the air. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Eric from Manhattan.
Eric.
Oh, thank God we answered this call.
What's up?
Nothing much. Today sucks.
Eric, it's Billy Joel's birthday. How could it suck?
I happen to tune in when you guys are talking about Barry Trotz, and I know that you guys are up against the time, so I'll just make it short and sweet. It is dumb as hell that he is not the head coach of the New York Islanders anymore. But there is, in my opinion, something that maybe we haven't thought about, or maybe you guys have. I've been working, I haven't been listening, my apologies. But there is something that maybe that we haven't even thought of. Did you notice that this year Matt Barzal, Oliver Wahlstrom, Kiefer Bellows, and all the young guys basically have looked like that they were on a leash? Now, with the new head coach in place, although, let me just preface this again, I do not agree with it. Whoever the next head coach is, whether it's Lane Lampard or somebody else, these guys are going to go off the rails next year. And on top of that, wherever Barry Trotz goes, in my opinion, he's a Manitoba boy, so he might go to the Winnipeg Jets. I could see the Detroit Red Wings. I can basically see anywhere that has basically missed the playoffs for quite some time, because if he did what he did with the Islanders in the summer of 2019 when Tavares left and brought him to the second round of the playoffs, imagine what he can do with a young, hungry team like either the Winnipeg Jets or mainly the Detroit Red Wings, which is where I think he'll end up.
I think a nice young Tyler Bertuzzi with him would fit perfectly. I really like that. That's actually that's a good landing spot for him. I really like that, and out of my division too.
Yeah, exactly. But also, there's got to be something that we don't know, because this came absolutely out of nowhere. Nobody saw that coming.
Eric, really quickly, you would have let go of Lou, though, correct?
I don't know, actually, because although that he has made some major misses, like bringing in Chara, trading away Devon Taves, he really hasn't done anything that egregiously bad to me. But this is basically, let's picture it like this. He's on strike 2, if that makes any sense. I don't know if this is a fireable offense, because maybe we're all wrong. Maybe we're all stupid. Maybe Lane Lambert's the answer. We don't know that. But people have such an outrage because the Islander fans haven't had anything with that much hope since Tavares was drafted back in 2009. So when Trotz got hired, it just made this whole glimmer of hope, and it showed right away. it worked right away. And now that he's leaving on unceremonious terms is what I'm trying to say, Anthony, this kind of reminds me of when Gallant got fired by Vegas.
Look how that turned out.
Not a good move.
DeBoer's on the hot seat right now.
Exactly. Just in my opinion, I think that it's stupid. I don't think that this was the right move. But if Lane Lambert doesn't follow Barry Trotz wherever he goes, maybe he's the guy. And also something that we're not even sure of, maybe Trotz left on his own. We don't know. That hasn't come out yet.
Well, I thought about that, but they said Trotz has been relieved of his duties. It wasn't like a mutual parting of ways where we have agreed to separate.
If he doesn't, let me ask you something, and then I'll hang up and listen. You guys are obviously doing great. I know that because I was with you for a long time.
Thank you.
If Trotz doesn't land another gig, I would say probably, let's say, by the end of the Stanley Cup final, he probably stepped away on his own. Because if he got fired unceremoniously like I think he did, then that's probably a fireable offense. But if he doesn't get hired right away, might not be the worst thing if you get what I'm trying to put down here.
Well, I know hockey is very cryptic with their hirings and GMs and moves because it's a very, very petty league.
Right, and again, still don't agree with it, but just wanted to stop by, give my 2 cents. You guys are always doing great. I'll hang up and listen.
Are you working tonight? You working the game tonight?
Yeah, I worked the other day. Obviously, tonight's Henrik Lundqvist Day, Rangers, Penguins. I'm head of the Louis Domingue fan club, but
hang up on him now.
Listen, they can go as far as they want. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals and lose.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck. Hopefully you keep working a little longer.
In all seriousness, though, I'm a big believer in the Rangers, and I think they're going to go very far if they get out of round 1.
That sounds like a mush. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. That sounds like a mush, though. We're out of time here. Very quickly, James Bradbury was released by the New York Giants today to save $10 million on the cap. It was a much-needed move. It was expected.
Yeah. I was going to say bittersweet.
I mean, he didn't play very well last year, but he's still a talented cornerback.
Don't go the Eagles.
I think it's going to be the Eagles. Eagles or Raiders. Those are my 2 picks. I'm sure we'll touch on the NBA tomorrow. That's all the time we got for today, though. For Anthony Deus, Ross Levine, Matt Leonard, and Elijah Blain, I am Michael Merlo here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Have a great rest of the day, everybody.